The purpose of this video is to highlight the features included in the payment request tool. So to start with, we need to come to an actual event record. So we're going to come here first to a McDonald's wedding. Okay. Now, what this tool allows you to do is to easily and seamlessly submit a request for payment to the client, to the venue, to whatever object may be attached to the record, the event record itself. To initiate a request for payment, just come to your Special Tools menu and click Create Payment Request. This brings up a modal where you have an amount as well as the recipient of who's actually going to be the person who this request for payment goes to, as well as you can create a line item list of elements that you want to be included in the invoice that they are sent. The notification template is the actual template that's going to include a link to a page that they can go to and view this receipt, as well as make a payment if you have Authorize.net connected, or view and review any information on how to make a payment. All one needs to do is to put in an amount. For instance, let's just assume we're going to do the deposit here of $685. You press on this calculator, and what you'll see is it immediately gives the base amount. But in the event that they make an online payment through Authorize.net, it automatically adds a processing fee. In this example, we're using 3%, but it shows you they'll actually pay $705.55 if they were to pay it online. So that transaction fee gets passed on along to the client. Here is where you can select who's actually going to receive the request for payment. In this case, it's going to be the client, but it could be the venue, could be anything. But in this case, we're just going to go with the client. Now, I can do a deposit and just simply say, to secure our services. Or, and then of course, after the payment is submitted, when the payment is received, I should say, a stored procedure can be set to run, so that if, for instance, you use Authorize and they make their payment, this stored procedure will automatically get executed. In the event that they pay outside the system, all you'll do is come in, press a button, and it will go ahead and update the payment information as well as execute this stored procedure. Let's go ahead and for this one and just create a request for payment for the deposit amount for $685. We're going to be sending it to the client. We're going to say deposit to secure our service. After it's done, we're going to go ahead and migrate them to booked events. And when we send this email out, we're going to send it to the client. Okay? So when I click this, it'll automatically send this notification to this person. So I click Make Payment Request. After submitting it, immediately I get a notification that this record, this event, has an active payment pending. I can view the payment info, and we can actually view the full receipt that was sent to the customer. We can see the deposit for services, the total amount. You can even print it out. Now, what gets sent to the client? If we actually go into the person record history and we go to their COM history, we can actually see that they have a pending payment. And if we click on that link, which is the same one that they get in their email, they're presented with this interface, which is an invoice on the left, and then either a payment form that they can submit their payment directly if you have an Authorize account, and or alternate payment instructions. So if you use Vimeo or some other method of payment, you can just put instructions as well as links to those various payment portals, and then they can make a payment through there. And when you get that payment, you can easily mark it in the system. If they come in and actually submit their information here, it will be the same. You'll be committing the same action. It'll just happen automatically using the authorize. When you're in the record for the event, all you need to do to make that payment go through is simply click Mark Payment as Received. If for some reason the person hasn't made a payment after a couple of days and they say, I never got the link, you can always just come in here and click Resend Notification. You yourself can actually go and view the payment request page if you want to, simply by clicking on this link. But more importantly, once the payment's received through some other means, whether it be a check, Venmo, ACH, whatever, if it's not authorized, all you need to do is come in here and click on this button, and it will be the same thing as if they had submitted their payment information and executed it directly from the payment request page. So when I click this Mark Payment as Received, it thinks for a moment, and then the page refreshes. You see this payment has been paid. I can actually come in here just like before. I can view the receipt if I want to. This is the receipt that they received and that they were provided with. At the same time, their payment is automatically credited to the system. So we can see here, and all we need to do is change their deposit to saved. You can see the amount that's been collected is $685. And that leaves a $6,160 balance from this total package price. Now, you also have the ability to connect these requests for payment to drip campaigns through stored procedures. If you come into the stored procedures, you actually have the ability to, if I come in here, I can actually add a stored process here called Add Payment Request to Record. And of course, you can pick from which money field in your event record you would like to pre-fill for the amount. You can actually put in any information that you want to for line items and who you're going to send it to. Obviously, is going to be the person, which is going to be the client. It allows you easily to automatically send out a request for payment and for balance due. Now, in the event that you are doing a wedding for a venue where you collect information from them, but the venue is actually the one who pays you, in those circumstances, you use the same exact process. The only difference is when you create a request for payment, instead of this, you go to the venue. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and import the entire quote because they will probably pay it all right off the bat. We see who's going to get the notification. That's going to be the primary contact of that venue. In this case, we've got a Wally. And then we simply make that payment request. Just like in the previous one, you see it's pending here, but you can come up. You can see, you can actually view the request, and you can see this is exactly what the venue in this case gets. And you can see the customer is marked as Waldorf Astoria Hotel because that's who we're sending it to, but it's for the Kiggins wedding and the date in which that event occurs on. All of their information, they can simply print this out, have it in there for their records. At the same time, they could send you a check if they don't want to pay the online fees or whatever, and you simply come in here, mark this payment as received, and upon doing so, you're basically paid in full with a balance due of $0. Everything's been paid. The client never has to see anything, because remember, in the client portal, all you'd simply do is say no payment button and no payment history. And that about covers the features of the new payment request tool. And as usual, always keep it simple.